Welcome to the Popish plot. I'm Mike.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Nate.
It's Theology Thursday, and today's plot is When Love Was Born.
That's right. Some of you who've been following us may remember that last year we did a video discussing the very poor theology of the song, Mary Did You Know?
Yes!
I wasn't asking.
That's always a proper response when anyone mentions that.
Yes, 1,000 times yes.
For those of you who might want a little more in-depth recap of that episode,
Because we've been a little ambiguous here.
Yeah.
there'll be a link up here. But yes.
Click it. Yes.
Yes.
Wait until this video is done, please. But we came across another song that's very similar in that the majority of the song is asking questions either directly to Mary or asking in general specifically about the event of the Nativity.
Now, I would like to point out this is the When Love Was Born by Dave Barnes, because there are multiple Christmas songs sung by Christian artists with the same name.
Yes.
So again, this is When Love Was Born by Dave Barnes.
Yeah.
Now, some of these questions are actual kind of reasonable questions. Mm-hmm. Some of them, much like with the previously mentioned song, which I'm not going to mention because I don't want you guys screaming, are kind of, do you really feel that was necessary to ask?
But none of these questions were directly answered in the Bible.
That's fair.
That's the major difference.
Yes.
Are there answers to these questions? Yes, but they're not as easily accessible. Mm-hmm. And some of them, they're worth thinking about.
There's a good meditation in some of these questions. However, I don't feel that there's all that good of a meditation in one of the ones that appears in the first verse.
Okay.
It asks, were you scared to death so far from home?
True, because it appears to be talking to Mary at this point.
Yes.
And if there's one thing we know about angels, it's the second they appear, they say, don't be afraid. But when the angel appeared to Mary, that was like the third or fourth thing he said.
Hail, full of grace.
I mean, he got half his conversation in before he's like, oh, no, don't need to be afraid.
So you're saying that Mary's kind of a tough cookie.
Well, look.
She's made of stern stuff.
She has already encountered an angel, which is something not many people do. Mm-hmm. We know that shortly following the Annunciation, she went in haste to visit her cousin Elizabeth.
Haste.
She went fairly quickly. Probably didn't have a whole lot of time to plan it all. But more importantly, Elizabeth wasn't living across town. No. This was a journey of many, many, many miles. I've heard estimations as far as 100.
She lived far enough away that even though she'd been pregnant for 6 months, and they're cousins, Mary had no idea.
Yes, and when you're, that old, you think that would be big news.
Seriously.
Yeah. And this was a time when traveling cross-country was significantly perilous. Mm-hmm. There were bandits, there were robbers. I mean, there's all sorts of people that would be looking to take advantage of travelers. Mm-hmm.
And yet, she went in haste.
She
just went.
And on top of it, she wasn't alone when she traveled to Bethlehem. She had her protector, Joseph, who was a good and virtuous man. And given the work that he did, was probably pretty capable of taking care of people.
Well, just look at it this way. Of all the men who have ever lived, God chose Joseph to be the protector of Jesus and Mary.
Yeah.
So, pretty good at his job.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. It really isn't a good question to ask Mary. However, I mean, it at least is something, it kind of brings to mind, like when you're doing Lectio Divino, or you read a Bible passage and then you put yourself in it, where a lot of people, if they were in that situation, that is how they would feel.
Yes, it makes
so
for
you
a
can kind
good,
of ponder it.
It makes for a good meditation. I just don't know if the question itself is all that.
It's Sure. I'll give you that.
I don't want to complain.
Mm-hmm.
But
that's what you love to do.
But I'm really good at it.
Yes.
You are.
I'm an expert. Mm-hmm. So, here's a line that is just, I'm all for asking questions, but this is simply indefensible.
Okay.
Did he take too long or come too soon?
Yeah, okay.
Are you serious?
Yeah. In fairness, none of them had an opportunity yet to read J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings.
Sure, it wouldn't be written for almost 2,000 years.
It wasn't going to be written for a very long time. So they would not have heard the fairly godlike character of Gandalf the Wizard.
No. To be fair, approximately half of all the good guys at one time are a god or Christ-like figure.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. But he was particularly...
Because he had the white beard, like on the Sistine Chapel.
He was particularly, through most of, and especially in the second half of the movie...
Yes.
Sort of a being above...
The rest.
But,
in the case of hobbits, literally.
As he stated when he arrived in the Shire... Mm-hmm. Wizards are never late, nor are they early. They arrive precisely when they mean to.
Is Barnes seriously going to suggest that God was in error when he chose to come? That it could possibly be too soon or too long?
If that is what he meant, I agree that is horrible. However, going with the rest of it, I think it means more that if you've ever been pregnant... It could be a
perceptual thing.
You know, sometimes the baby comes quick, you're only like 8 months, and you're like, I thought I had a month to get ready. Sometimes it's like 10 and a half months, and you're like,
please
is this baby ever coming?
Yeah.
But again, what do we know about the Blessed Mother?
Yes.
She says, she's up for whatever.
True.
So, I think that consistent with her character of being very contemplative of these things, of pondering them all in her heart.
And very patient, too.
Mm-hmm.
She would be completely satisfied whenever the Christ child decided to come.
I could see that.
Yep.
So, was there anything about this song that really struck you, Jess?
Well, I found one line that struck me, not because I disagree with it, but just because it opens up a question that you almost never hear people talking about, but yet there's a long history connected to it.
Okay.
We love questions like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Of the question of, did Mary cry in that makeshift room? Which I'm assuming he means in childbirth.
Yeah.
And that is interesting just because there's a long-held theological opinion, which means it's not doctrine, it's not dogma, you don't have to believe it, but a lot of great theologians have believed it, that during Jesus' actual birth, Mary was not in pain. Now,
sure. Okay.
There are a wide number of reasons why they thought that. First one is a saying that you often hear, if you ever actually discuss this, of the birth of Jesus was like light passing through a window. Early theologians were very keen on pointing out that Mary was a virgin before, during, and after Jesus was born.
True.
And although it is dogma that she was, always a virgin, they wanted to make sure that it was true to point out that she was in all senses of the word.
You're going to have to... I'm not getting it.
Yeah, basically, their idea was to make sure that, we could say she's always a virgin. Jesus teleported.
He what now?
Teleported. He was there, and then he was there.
No dilation, no pushing,
Nope.
just ta-da!
Some people argue that a couple of angels showed up to act as, really simple midwives, and that just to be on the safe side, St. Joseph said, I'm going to get some firewood now. Like in the olden days when men had to go and, boil water.
Yeah, or, they'd be out in the lobby smoking a cigar.
Exactly.
Sure. Well, if an angel was
there... I missed
there...
the father's room, by the way. That was never around when my kids were being born. I was a little disappointed.
I bet you were in that room being threatened.
No comment.
Yeah.
If there was an archangel, I would bet it would be Raphael. And he's probably, having some fish gut-based cures, thinking, this'll fix her. Because that's the kind of guy he is.
So what's another theory?
Theory the second, not the non-teleporting Jesus.
Oh, teleporting Jesus is cool. I mean...
We love teleporting Jesus, but he generally doesn't display any ability to teleport until after the resurrection.
It seems
but he did walk on water. Thought, too, is because she would not have been affected by the curse put on women from Genesis,
True.
As she didn't sin, that she would not have labor pains because the curse was an increase of labor pains. If you read Genesis 3, like the middle section of verse 16. It says, "I will multiply thy sorrows, and in thy conceptions in sorrow
shalt."
Yes, thou bring forth children. They had too many S's in a row.
Oh, absolutely.
But
it's like Sally sells seashells by the seashore.
Yes, but modern translations usually point out something like, they will increase the pain of childbirth. So it's not, there was going to be no pain to all the pain. It was much like most animals that haven't been selectively bred, so they have like weird features. Childbirth is fairly quick and simple most of the time. In fact, I've heard one theologian who pointed out the kind of fun combination between biology and theology. The reason why human childbirth is so hard is because we have giant heads. So therefore, literally, it is our amount of knowledge that makes this a problem.
It's awesome being a guy.
Which goes to point 3, which is an idea that you never hear, because if you suggested it, there'd probably be some mother somewhere who would immediately punch you in the face.
In the face.
So I'm not going to suggest that one here.
No.
Not
and
today.
you'll deserve it.
Probably not tomorrow.
That Mary didn't have birthing pains because as she didn't conceive Jesus in the normal way, she didn't get that pleasure to counterbalance the pain.
I'm not a woman, and I want to punch in the face whoever would say that.
Yeah. That's one that you never really hear much today.
Yeah, because everyone who says it gets punched in the face.
Exactly.
And deserves it.
Seriously.
And goodwill towards men as we punch them in the face.
Even Santa occasionally had to do it.
May God bless you.
So that was a line that I found interesting because it's a question that people have been asking for centuries.
Serious theologians with way too much time on their hands have delved deeply into this.
And come down, some on one side, some on the other.
Now, I do want to circle back to one other line.
Okay.
Which, to some, might seem problematic, but which I think is completely kosher.
Okay.
Giving this gift of love, saving you, saving us.
Okay.
Now, some people will immediately react to this and say, whoa, 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 whoa! We just celebrated the solemnity of the Immaculate Conception. We know, as good Catholics, that Mary never sinned, and that's absolutely true. And many of our Protestant brethren would, of course, say, well, of course she needed a Savior, because she was human like the rest of us, and so she committed all sorts of sins. But the fact is, Mary was immaculately conceived, Mary never sinned, and she needed a Savior. And that's how she was saved. The merits of Christ, through the timey-wimey fact that God is not constrained by time and space, the merits of Christ on the cross were retroactively applied to his mother at the moment of her otherwise completely natural conception.
Yes, I do find it interesting that whenever a Protestant makes a Christmas song about Mary, they have to note about how Jesus saved her. However, this one, it's not saying he will save you. It's working within the timey-wimey thing. So
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with it.
The salvation happened.
Exactly.
And that's all that's really important.
In her Magnificat, Mary herself praises God as her Savior.
Yes.
So that one, completely fine.
So, theology, as this is a Theology Thursday, we got to grade this song. Theology-wise,
meh.
So C plus.
Yeah, it's not bad theology like Mary. Did you know? Yes,
but it's not like
it's not good theology.
But it's not like Thomas Aquinas writing a Christmas song.
Correct.
Okay,
gotcha.
But
so
we couldn't sing the Thomas song, and it would be 10 minutes long because it would have points and counterpoints.
It'd be so deep. But so the theology is okay.
Right.
But I would just like to point out that the okay but not great theology of When Love Was Born, the terrible theology of Mary Did You Know,
yeah,
or the We Have Yet to Weigh In theology of Francesca Battistelli's Be Born in Me. It is encouraging to me to see so many of our separated brothers and sisters begin, even if it's only for one day a year, begin to perhaps reassess Protestantism's traditional
Mary's just a woman.
Great antipathy toward the Blessed Mother.
Yeah.
Even though these meditations are inadequate for the splendor and glory of Our Lady, it is a significant step in the right direction, and one that I welcome.
Yeah, I'd say so. I do have to give it a ding though on the actual music. David Barnes, I'm sure you've done some fantastic work, but this is not going to be the song that's going to sell me on the rest of your portfolio.
It does sound a little dated for an era earlier than when it was made.
Yes. I'm reminded of like early 90s Christian contemporary music, before people started putting rock and roll into it.
It's like Christian Valium.
Yeah.
If you find Michael Bolton's music a little too startling, this will calm you down.
Well, at least it's calming. It doesn't make us horribly mad. That's a plus from last year's Christmas song.
or on the way up.
Yep.
So with that, remember to go down and hit the subscribe button and the bell next to it so you get notified when new episodes come out. Hit the like button so that we know that you watched the video all the way through.
Comment below. Do you think that we got it right? Do you think that we got it wrong? Were there lines in the song to which you objected and we didn't?
Are there songs that you would like us to review next?
And until next time, remember,
live your faith.
Love your faith.
Share that love.